Welcome to another edition of Ed Talks. I'm Ed. I've been thinking a lot lately about why I work for electric cooperatives. Why is it that that's so important to me? And I kind of go back to how I started in life. Now, believe it or not, I was born in Ohio, in Cincinnati. Um, Long time ago now, in the late 1900s. People say that nowadays, and it's kind of funny, but in 1972 in Cincinnati. But I was born into a house that was very abusive. So much so that my family ran away to Oklahoma in 1980 to escape Child Protective Services. Now, eventually, they caught up to us. Um, and we did get put in foster care, my sisters and I. I grew up in foster care until I was 16 and then emancipated. And I tell you this because I want you to have an understanding of my motivation behind why I think this business model is so important to me. Uh, Growing up the way I did, there was a lot of instability, a lack of ability to control your own life, move from home to home, um, with no real sense of belonging. And so when I found the electric cooperative world later, um, I heard many of the people that work there talk about a cooperative family. And to me, that was kind of a foreign concept. I mean, I knew what family meant. I saw families, I'd been in families, but I never really belonged in that same way. And then I found this program, and now I do find a sense of belonging. And I think it's so important that we as cooperatives express that sense of family. And not just the employees that work here, but also to the communities that we serve. There's these 7 cooperative principles, and some of them are democratic control and how you vote on things and economic participation and stuff like that. But that commitment to community, or concern for community, that's super important. And it really leads into the business model itself and why that's super important. So when I think about the not-for-profit model, that's a precious thing. Now I want to make sure that we understand the difference between not-for-profit and non-profit. Not-for-profit means it's a service-oriented organization that is owned and operated, especially in the cooperative world, by the very people it serves. It means that you, as electric cooperative members, get to elect a board of directors that will run the organization on your behalf. And that one of their main responsibilities is approving budgets and rates, and also hiring a CEO who hopefully has a deep commitment to the community. Again, that's that words, commitment to community. That's so important for us and for everyone that works here. In contrast, a nonprofit, while they have a service model, are usually funded by some grant programs, or they're dedicated to a specific cause or something like that. Electric co-ops are much more broader range than that. We're formed by and for the very people that we serve. So you might be wondering about how the revenue that we receive is used. Well, there's this constant battle between reliability, which is being able to keep the lights on, resilience, which is how fast we get the lights back on, and rates, how much you pay to keep the lights on, right? That's a really simplistic way of looking at it, but it definitely explains very well that battle between those. So to be the most reliable and the most resilient also means you're going to pay the most, because you have to have backup system after backup system in order to ensure that the lights never go off. Now, for an electric cooperative, we pride ourselves on having the highest levels of reliability. And I think we do a really, really good job here at your cooperative. But it comes with a cost, and that's your rates. So we also have, as a foundational priority, that we will keep cost competitive rates so that that way we're having a small impact upon our membership as possible when it comes to the bottom line. But it's hard because you have to strike that balance at all times. We don't want people to be without electricity, but at the same time, you have to pay to be able to have those types of things. So your board works very hard on your behalf to try and figure out what that right balance is. How much are we going to invest into the lines and poles in order to make sure you have the best possible reliability while also maintaining cost competitive rates? Because remember, we're a not-for-profit. That means at cost. So anything that we make to run the system needs to come out of rates. And then anything that we make over and above that, because it's impossible to be 100% accurate, actually gets returned back to its members, you, in the form of capital credits. So I can talk about capital credits a little bit. If you think about what happens at a for-profit company, these are traded on the stock exchange, for example. When people run for-profits, they're looking for investors, and those investors will give money to that for-profit to run their business, but they expect a return, some kind of interest back on the money that they're investing. And you get those in payments called dividends. Well, for us, we don't have investors because remember, we're a not-for-profit, we're community-based, member-owned, and member-run. So anything that we make over and above what it takes to run the business at the zero-sum budget, we assign back in the form of capital credits. And then at the end of every year, if we're financially stable enough, the board, members, just like you, will authorize returning those dollars back. And some of you may get a check if it's a very large business or something like that, but most of the time you're going to get a credit on your bill. And if you will look at your bill later in the year, November, December-ish, you'll probably see that capital credit reflected there. And of course, the longer you've been on the system, the more you've paid in, the more likely that you're going to have a larger amount there. So we also do a lot for our communities. Remember I talked earlier, concern for community, commitment to community being our foundational principles, so 7 co-op principles. And those are things that we believe in here at the cooperative, and it's why a lot of people work here. It's why the co-op exists in the first place, a concern for its community not having electric service. We do things like scholarships, where we're giving out to youth every year some money to enable them to go to school. And I'm really proud of the fact that we also do a trade scholarship that is specifically directed at helping students that maybe the university isn't the right thing for them, but maybe they want to become a tradesman of some kind, electrician, plumber, IT, nurse, whatever it is, so that way we can support those types of students as well. And then we have a program called People Fund. This is also known by the name Operation Roundup if you go and Google it nationally. Basically, it means that our members round up to the nearest dollar their bill. So if your bill was going to be .75 now it just becomes the next dollar up, and that 25 cents goes into a shared pot, which can be used to help support those in need in our communities. Some of the things I'm really proud of there are when we have a member who has a fire at their home, and they can apply for these dollars to help them get through that time period where they are really trying to search and figure out what they're going to do next, or while they're waiting for their insurance company. It's people helping people, and that's what co-ops are all about. We have a ton of other programs that we do as well, where we're doing donations, and we partner with some national organizations in order to be able to stretch those dollars farther. So for every dollar we give, some national organizations will also give another dollar, therefore bringing in not just local money, but national money to have an impact on our members. And we've seen some very good programs come out of that at associated organizations within our cooperative territory. So why do co-ops exist? there's a difference that we make in our communities. And that is something that's a precious thing to me. And I talked earlier about my personal story. Why is it that I'm so attracted to this model? It's because of the cooperative family. It's that cooperative difference. It's what we do for our communities that creates a sense of belonging. It's something that I think most people that work here really appreciate, and I think most of the communities that we serve understand. We work tirelessly on behalf of the membership because we know everything we do has a direct impact on the daily lives of the people that we serve. That's the cooperative difference. It's about creating a sense of belonging, stability, and reliability in the communities in which we both live and work. And that's a precious thing to me. So I want to thank you once more for taking the time to watch this video. Our co-ops exist in our communities for the benefit of our members. And we're always here to help if you have a time of need. Please reach out to us if you have any concerns or comments. We'd love to hear from you, and look forward to talking to you next time.